Great. Thank you all so much for coming out today. My name is Jess WIEGANDT. I am a double major in wilderness leadership and experiential education, as well as English with an emphasis in journalism and professional communications. I worked on a senior project titled Back in Session, which was a short film that allowed me to look into the importance of multimedia literacy. When I was a sophomore here, I was approached by Clyde Carter and Christy Cobble asking me if I would be interested in making a film for Banff Mountain Film Festival, which we host every single year. It's an internationally touring film festival that goes to 550 different sites in 40 different countries around the world showing outdoor films. They can involve anything from conservation to up-and-coming kids that are this tall going off of jumps on bikes, and they all tell a story. And so I knew that that was going to be a huge undertaking, but I was really interested in it because the trend of being involved and engaged in working in the media world, whether it's journalism or working for a public relations office or doing any kind of content production for a magazine, a newspaper, anything, you need to know how to work in video. And so I knew that that was going to be a really valuable experience that I could have. So I said yes, and I turned it into my senior project. And I wanted to be able to tell the story of the students that go here at Brevard, but knew that I needed to start brainstorming right when I got asked 2 years ago. Brevard itself, the city of Brevard in Transylvania County, is located in an extremely ecotourism rich area, and they've recognized that. And so the city of Brevard has put a lot of money into allowing for them to be able to profit off of our natural resources that we have around us, and they market for people to come and do that. And so I was interested in seeing what would happen if the college started doing that. I did some research into our retention rates here as students, and the freshman retention rate, according to a 2017 study that was released by College Board, is 49%. That makes us one of the lowest retaining schools in not only North Carolina, but the whole country. And then our graduation rate for a 4-year period is 32%. So I was interested to see what causes low retention rates. And it can be a vast majority of things, but one of the primary things that you can point towards is marketing. So who you're marketing to, what kind of student is coming to your college, and then what they're expecting. Because if what they're expecting doesn't meet what they're actually given, they decide to leave. And so I was looking into what we have been marketing for the past 10 years, for the past 5 years, and kind of studying what it looked like. And we had initially been spending a lot of time marketing our sports, which are great, and we have a really great time having our sports teams here. But when we have a really small school that has an engaged community surrounding it and have all of these natural resources like Pisgah and DuPont and Borges, that's something that we should focus our energy towards as well. And so with my project, I wanted to be able to incorporate some kind of video that showed our small community that we have, as well as the arts that we have here on site, as well as in the community, as well as the outdoor recreation opportunities that exist here. And I wanted to be able to tell the story of the students that come to this college. And so I chose to do the video project. And one of the reasons, like I said, is because things are starting to trend towards video. We have less and less of an attention span it's decreasing every year. And so right now, our attention spans are approximately 8 seconds unless somebody does something that re-engages you, right? And so that's really short. And so reading an article, unfortunately, usually doesn't capture people's attention for the full article. But with a video, when you have things that cut to a new slide or a new show or something like that, then it re-engages your mind. And so that was something that I was really interested in further working in. And as I started to look more into the benefits of working in video, I found that you can, by incorporating video into any kind of a marketing technique or any kind of advertisement, it's a conversion rate of 80%, which is like a big thing. So that means if I'm trying to sell you a product, or if I'm trying to get you to attend an event, or if I'm trying to get you to come visit a school, if I incorporate video into whatever I'm trying to show you, I have an 80% more likely success rate of getting you to buy that product, attend that event, or come to the school that I'm trying to get you to come to. So then I had to make the film, right? So who has done something for 4.5 days straight? Yeah, like breathing, right? Like we all have done that for 4.5 days straight, right? So probably there's been way more of other things that people have done for 4.5 days straight, maybe like working on a project. So I ended up spending 115 hours that were documented working on this project. So it's approximately, it's like 4.7 days, which doesn't sound like much, but then when you say 115 hours, you're like, whoa, that's actually a lot. And the reason that I emphasize documented is because this project started 2 years ago, but I didn't start timing, like documenting how much time I spent on it until August of 2018 when I really started putting into motion, like, oh, this is my senior project that I'm going to be working on. I wonder how long it takes to make a film. So I ended up having this project where I had made films in the past before, but I never really kept track of how long it took or how much raw footage I had. I have almost 100 hours of raw footage that's just hanging out for a 4.5-minute film. And so that was insane. And that's why I say documented hours, because if I have over like almost 100 hours of raw footage, that's like, it didn't take me 15 hours to edit. It was like significantly more than that. And so a lot of that footage came from that year from sophomore year to junior year, and from junior year to senior year, where I wasn't quite documenting how long it took for me to go out and film, because I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. So when I started working on the project, I had to focus in on a story I was going to tell. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't altering what people actually do when they go outside. And so one of my favorite moments was when I asked Matt Stevens, who's a boulderer here, I asked him if I could go out with him and film him climbing outside. And he was like, oh yeah, like, I'm going on Thursday, you can come with me, but you can't tell anyone where I take you. And that was something that I got from a lot of students that I asked to take me outside and have me film what they did, because they spent hours, days, months trying to find these places where they scour maps of Pisgah, and they're like, I think there's a rock there, or I think there's a creek there. And then they go and they drag all of their gear through the woods looking for these rocks that they can climb. And they don't want to share it with anybody else. And so they deemed that as their secret spot, as their special place, and they trusted me to come in with all of my equipment and film them to tell this story of our community that we have here. This project was meant to incorporate both my journalism emphasis and my professional communications emphasis. It's a journalism project because it tells the story of the community and those who make up the atmosphere of Brevard College, but it's also a professional communications project because it was created with the hope that it can inspire further marketing research to take place so that the college can figure out what kind of student we need to market to, how the marketing needs to be done, and how the retention rate of students can increase for the future success of our college. And by doing so, I was able to create a product that has made a pretty wide reach. And so it premiered at Banff Mountain Film Festival this past March, and it showed all 3 nights, which garnered approximately 2,100 views in one weekend of this video. From there, it was put online on my own personal account on Vimeo, and was picked up by Blue Ridge Outdoors magazine just this past week. And so last week, Blue Ridge Outdoors magazine contacted me and had me write up a quick story about the process of making the video and why I did it. And then they published it in their online content, as well as pushed it out to all of their social media, as well as put it on their email subscription list. So it got blasted out to anybody who subscribes to Blue Ridge Outdoors. In February, I was invited up to the 2019 Virginia Adventure Education Conference to give a workshop speech on video marketing and content production. And so I led a workshop with about 45 people on the topic of my senior project and how they can incorporate it into building their as a company or as a summer camp. I've also been reached out to by a lot of alumni, current students, and community members, where I've had alumni who graduated 10 years ago reach out to me and say, hey, that video that you made captures my school, it captures where I went, and it shows that community that really exists there. I've been asked by President Joyce as well as Chad Holt to figure out a way to hand this video over to them so that they can use it for professional branding of the college as well. I've talked a lot about the video. I'd like to actually show it to you guys. This video involved 115 hours. It had 26 students and faculty in it. I filmed everything except for the drone shots, which were filmed by Tom Kennedy, who is another student. And it runs at about 4.5 minutes, almost 5 minutes. I'm going to play it all the way through the credits so that you guys can see just how many people and all of the locations that were involved in creating this film.
I'm facing back to front, over my shoulder at the sun. And it's an open door, and off my line of sight once more. And I don't learn, it'll all be fine this time. And I don't learn, you always seem so kind. I don't learn, it'll all be fine this time. I don't learn.
Now you wait up and all I live. Now you wait anymore.
questions, there were a couple of things that I forgot to say. So I said that I didn't film the drone section, but I also didn't animate the beginning section or the end liftoff of the album club emblem, and that was also done by a student, Ivy Blanton. And so everything that went into this project was something that was truly based out of Brevard and told the story of Brevard, and I appreciate everyone that helped. There's a lot of people in here who were in that film, and a lot of people who watched it over and over and over again. And so I thank everyone for that and the process of creating this. So thank you. Are there any questions?
What was your favorite scene of film?
Favorite scene of film? Ooh, that's hard. I had a really fun time filming. I think my best day of filming was when I did the road descent of 276 into Sliding Rock, because I was hanging out of the back of a Honda Element with somebody like sitting on my legs so I didn't fall out, and Tyler was behind the car, and he was descending at a crazy fast rate, and then we rolled into the Sliding Rock parking lot, and there were like 12 people there dressed up in costumes, ready to just go and slide down and have a really great time with a bunch of friends. So that was really cool, really, really fun day.
I'm curious about your decision to include some of your Grand Canyon footage. That's awesome, but I know your focus was on Brevard College, so how do you make that connection?
Yeah, there's a lot of really great kayaking footage that I have and a lot of people from here have. I think it's really incredible how far our alumni go and how much of a connection you can have no matter where you are in the country or even honestly in the world. When I was out on my trip, there were multiple times where it would just be this random conversation. I was on a trip with 18 people, and it would be like, oh yeah, I know that professor, or oh yeah, like I've run into her on the river, and it's all alumni or current students, and everybody just has connections to Brevard somehow, in the outdoor industry especially, but just in general in the world too.
Is there a subtext to the film about what it's like to be in a classroom at Brevard College?
No, so the storyline is about that small community and that experiential education. There has been some talk about the daydreaming, but I think that, in my opinion, daydreaming fosters really great ideas, but in no way am I trying to tell people to not pay attention in class. But there are other shots of people in class too with, Dr. Mbidi outside, and I tried to include some footage of people in the classroom as well as out of it, but the climbing footage as well as, that was during a class that was being held through the Willie Department too.
It might help to explain what you mean by session.
Okay, yeah. So Back in Session is the title of the film. And so when I was trying to figure out what I was going to title it, I started paying a lot of attention to what my friends said when they would come back from the woods. And so when school's out for the summer and then you come back, a lot of times people say like school's back in session. But I also started to notice that when people went biking or went kayaking or climbing to try and like work on a specific problem or try to develop a certain skill, they would come back and they'd be like, yeah, I had a really great session on the rock, or I had a really great session on the wave. And I started to notice people saying that, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting that people say that in both contexts.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.